Good day, wide friends. Gather around the fire pit and let this old ghost tell you a story. A story of terror, of friendship, of heroes. The story of Widefort. Many eons ago, about 6 months, the fort was first widened. An idealistic mapper set out to make their mark on a game that had helped define their life. But in their naivete, they broke ground somewhere that ground should never be broken. The fort gave signs of ill omen. The skies blurred with visions of hell to come, and the waters rose, flooding the fort. Alas, the poor mapper was blind to those signs and pressed onward, determined to widen the fort, believing that they were bringing joy and wonder to all who graced those wide fields. And for a time, they did. But the mapper would soon learn that that old fort had been constructed with reason. Tight and confined, cramped hallways meant to stall out a malevolent force, locking them in an eternal pub server stacked with NGs and snipers, doomed to an eternal queue. When that mapper widened the fort, they gave room for something ancient and primordial to grow and gain power. The Cowgod had begun awakening. The map grew wider, the Cowgod began exerting more influence, corrupting the mind of the mapper and pushing them to inflict a great malice upon the whole wide world. They would inflict upon the world the same fate that they had been sentenced to. The fort. Forever. However, it was not all doom and gloom, for in the early days, those who had seen the joy and wonder still believed. They banded together, rallying around the mapper, cracking the Cowgods' devious ciphers, finding their minions scattered across the map, and flushing out their intrusions into the Team Fort 2 pro-gamer zone. Even in the darkest recesses of their cow-addled mind, though, the mapper held strong. Bolstered by their support, the mapper set to purging the cows from Widefort in a blaze of purifying vengeance. Yet no matter how hot their flames burned, they could never rid the fort of cows. Time and time again, the villain in their own head would work their way back into the fort. By now, though, the Widefriends were starting to get uneasy, and when the Cowgod began making plays at fort-wide domination, they would not stand idly by. On the 5th of July, 2023, the Cowgod had set a devious trap. A grand event. A countdown. To what, though? Outwardly, a release. But secretly, the Cowgod had planned to trap the Widefriends in a hellish cycle of corrupted maps forged by malevolent hooves. And when the mapper gathered the Widefriends on the fort, the Cowgod sprung their vicious trap. They plunged the Widefriends into darkness, the blackest, most hellish night. And then into flames and heat, attempting to burn away their morale as the mapper had done. The Cowgod even swarmed the fort with their minions to slow them down, and then dragged them all back in time to the moment that the mapper had broken ground and opened their prison. Though the Cowgod was powerful and cunning, the Widefriends' bond was stronger. Together, they did the unthinkable. They capped. And they capped again, and then again and again. Time after time, they proved that there is no fort without a team, and that a team is of no use without a fortress. The Widefriends fought back the Cowgod, weakening them and driving the corruption from the mapper's mind. And finally, the mapper was able to peel free the Cowgod's controlling mask and push through to releasing Widefort, all thanks to the vigilant fight that the Widefriends all put into driving away the evil. Peace is now upon the fort. The Widefriends frolic. A bright sun shines on greater futures. The horizons are wide. Widefort. More fort, more fun.